Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here on Boxing Along the Beltway. Our news and notes for this week, and some interesting situations going on over the past week, and we're going to talk about it because the injury bug has been prowling around our Beltway boxers. Not some of them have hit the Beltway boxers directly, but others have caused fights to be changed around a little bit, and the schedule since we last talked to you has been altered pretty substantially, actually. And we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're also going to recap two of the bouts that took place this past weekend, including our Beltway boxers. Also, we'll give you an amateur update, and we'll talk about a scam that has been going on throughout the area for a couple of years now. And it's time I started talking about it and started warning, especially those who live in the Beltway area, about this situation. We'll talk more about that a little bit later on. Let's start this week with a recap of what took place last week as far as the pros are concerned. We had two pros that were in action on national television. One was on Showtime on another Showbox card, and that was Jerry the King's son Odom out of Bowie, Maryland, and he fought to a 8-round draw with Ronald Ellis, and the bout really could have gone either way. I thought Jerry did enough down the stretch. Odom did enough down the stretch to win the bout. But on the other hand, he started off very slowly in that bout. And I think it cost him a win in that situation. He fought Ronald Ellis out of Lynn, Massachusetts, Flatline Ellis. And it was a good bout. And I said, as in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 rounds, I thought Odom started to take bout over. Forced Ellis to get some traction by kind of posturing and playing around a little bit. And I thought Odom took over in the bout, but somehow one judge saw it Ellis's way by a big margin. And I got to tell you, bout took place at Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and the judging was questionable pretty much half the night at least. The first bout that took place on that card was just downright brutal. And it was ugly. I mean, that was an ugly draw that came out of there. And the judging was kind of in question pretty much the whole night, at least half the night anyway. And you can make some case again for Odom winning. I don't think you can make a case for Ellis winning by the margin that he won. I think he won 79-73 on one card, and the other two were even the scores. But on the one hand, you really hope that because Jerry Odom needed a win badly, but he didn't get a loss this time, and overall he fought pretty well. So it was especially when we went to the body, he looked good. He looked really good at the body. So we'll see, but he's 13-2-1 now with 12 KOs, and he's still in a situation where he needs a win, but at least he looked good. And was in good shape against an undefeated fighter in Ronald Ellis. So he's still in play. Jerry Odom is still in play. Meanwhile, in Sloan, Iowa, Malik Iceman Hawkins out of Baltimore, Maryland, put on a solid performance, first round knockout over his opponent, Cody Calhoun. This was an easy bout. I mean, it's weird. You got to wonder why some management and boxers who only have one pro bout get in there with a guy who came in there at 5-0, 4 KOs, and had been knocking people out. And Malik Hawkins, I guess maybe he didn't know Malik Hawkins was not that a guy with headgear on last year in an exhibition bout in Baltimore, Parkville, actually, in Tall Cedars Hall. And you just got to wonder why a guy with just one pro fight would go in there with a guy that's undefeated with 5 pro bouts. And Cody paid for it. No question about it, because Hawkins just brutalized him for the one round they were in there. So Malik Hawkins now 6-0, 5 KOs, and onward and upward for him. Should be interesting to see what he does in the future. Now, let's turn our attention to what's going on this week. And actually, not so much this week, it's really next week is the key. This week we're in good shape because we have the show February 27th at the Washington Convention Center, the King's Promotions card. We've gone over that. Now there is one change in that card. That is Thomas Snow's bout that was scheduled to be against Stefan McIntyre, that bout has been scratched. So we will not have that bout on February 27th. The rest of the card, as far as I know, is intact, and they're ready to roll. That'll be Saturday night, February 27th at the Washington Convention Center. As soon as we get there, we will go on the air. We'll post something on both Facebook and Twitter. Let people know we're heading on the air in about 5 minutes. I'll be joined at ringside by Ernesto Rodriguez, who is the trainer of Swift Jared Hurd. And we have some news about Jared Hurd in just a moment. But Ernesto Rodriguez, he actually worked with Juan and myself in the card late last year and did a very good job. So I'm looking forward to working with him once again. And he'll be by my side. Juan will not be at the card, still recuperating from the recent hospitalization he was in. So he's going to take this one and March 5th off. And hopefully by the time we get around to late March, early April, he'll be back with us once again. So as soon as we get set up at the Washington Convention Center, again, I'm coming from Baltimore, Maryland, when I'm doing the Coppin State, Morgan State as the public address announcer. Homecoming. It's senior night. I forgot. I think I said it was a triple whammy. It's actually quadruple whammy because it's homecoming, senior night, last home game, and it's Morgan State, our crosstown rivals. So it's going to be a busy night, and that's a busy weekend up there for me, but that's another story. So February 27th will be there, and also on February 27th, Mike Yes Indeed Reed is fighting at Madison Square Garden. Also, Emmanuel Taylor fighting at Madison Square Garden, both on the Terrence Crawford, Hank Lundy card in New York City. That's on February 27th. So as soon as we get an update on that, we'll pass that along to you along those lines. Now, let's take a look at the next week, the weekend of Saturday, March 5th. And a lot has changed, and it's been very interesting to see what happens in that situation. Now, on the March 5th card here, Saturday, March 5th card here at the DC Armory, as we said before, there are 3 world title bouts in that card. Of course, Luis Ortiz, there'll be an interim heavyweight champion, will defend his title against our very own Tony the Tiger Thompson. Also, Saddam Ali battles Jesse Vargas for the vacant WBO welterweight title, and for the interim WBC featherweight title. We talked about this a couple weeks ago. Oscar Escandón taking on Robinson Castellanos. And you might be wondering where that leaves Gary Russell Jr. in that situation. Well, technically it hasn't been a year yet, but it's getting close. And there is talk of Gary Russell. In fact, I pretty much had it confirmed. I talked to Russell's publicist today, and it looks like the bout will take place. The question is exactly where, but they think they have a site. And here's where this all kind of comes together. So before we get to that, let's go back to March 5th. And March 5th at the Sands Casino in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Of course, Antoine Douglas was scheduled to be on that card and go up against Sam Solomon. Well, Sam Solomon hurt his knee in training. We talked about that. Well, just found out that just before we went on the air that Antoine Douglas does have an opponent for that card. It'll be at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and it'll be televised live on Showtime. And Douglas will take on Avtandil Kirtzi. And he is originally from Katisi in the country of Georgia, but he fights out of Brooklyn, New York. His record is 32-2 with 20 KOs. He's won his last 8, and 6 of those wins by knockout. He once fought for the interim WBA middleweight championship, lost that bout against Hassan Endam, but since that loss, he's won 8 in a row, as we said, 6 by KO. So that's going to be Douglas's opponent for March 5th at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Of course, Fernando Guerrero is on that card as well, as he takes on Tony Harrison. And that bout will be on television as well. It's a triple header on that card. And actually, because Douglas is not fighting Solomon, he's no longer the main event on the card. I think he's the co-feature. And Guerrero will precede Douglas on that card. So that's Saturday, March 5th. So once again, while I'm live at the DC Armory watching Tony Thompson and people on that card, I'll be keeping an eye out on the Douglas event on Showtime. Okay, so that's Saturday, March the 5th. Now let's move to March 12th. Now, what happened on March 12th, we got an announcement on that just a couple days ago, and that was basically the main event for the show that was scheduled to be at Mohegan Sun Casino in Uncasville, Connecticut, between WBA welterweight champion Keith Thurman and challenger Sean Porter. That bout has been scratched because Keith Thurman, you probably know by now, suffered injuries in a car accident, and he is out for that situation. So that card was kind of in flux, and as far as I know, it's still in flux officially, but maybe working out a little bit. Now, also scheduled to be on that card was Thomas Top Dog Williams going up against Edwin La Bamba Rodriguez in a 10-round light heavyweight bout on that card. As of right now, right, as we record this, DiBella Entertainment is still looking to try to piece this together. But one of the ways they may do that is with Gary Russell Jr. making the first defense of his title against a guy by the name of Patrick Hyland from Ireland, and that'll be for the WBC Featherweight Championship. And that's what seems to be the route they're going. But again, nothing's official yet. So we shall see on that one, because it's still a decent card. If you put Gary Russell on there with Thomas Rodriguez and Thomas Williams, I should say, and Rodriguez, and put another bout on there beside, you might have a pretty good card there on March 12th. And that would be on, and that would probably end up being on Showtime. That's the major logistic, because the Thurman Porter fight was actually scheduled to be on CBS network. Now, CBS and Showtime run by the same people, owned by the same people, but it was originally be live in live on CBS television, the Thurman Porter bout. With Thurman Porter now out, there's a logistical situation that has to take place about which network we're going to deal with, and Showtime is in the mix. What was originally supposed to happen was, I think, some of the preliminary bouts on this card was supposed to be on Showtime, maybe Showtime Extreme or something like that, and then the main event bouts was supposed to be on CBS. Well, that obviously won't happen now. So it looks like if they go this route, it'll be on Showtime. So that would mean Beltway boxers in back-to-back weekends on Showtime Championship Boxing. Now, also scheduled to be on that card was Swift Jared Hurd. Swift Jared Hurd out of Accokeek, Maryland, pardon me, in the Beltway Boxing Stronghold with the kids playing. Sorry about that. But Swift Jared Hurd out of Accokeek, Maryland was also scheduled to be on that card, but he has recently suffered an injury, just had surgery on his right hand, and he's going to be out for a few weeks. So he is off the card. And that's why I say the injury bug has been all around us throughout the last couple of weeks. And that has caused some things to be altered a little bit in the next couple weeks in March. So March is going to be an interesting situation. And by the way, speaking of March, on March the 5th, there's a card in Norfolk, Virginia at the Masonic Temple. And I have some details on that on the blog, but and mostly it's out of town boxes for us. We do have Eric El Torito Hernandez is on that card. Seth Billups is on that card. And Matthew Abregu, who made his pro debut back in December of 2016. So he's 2015. So he's part of the 2016 Beltway rookie class, along with guys like Sam Crossett and Jordan White. And he's on that card as well. The main event, Frank Braytain Philippone, Doran Spivey's on that card. Jerry Slug Forrest is on that card as well. And the promoters could be interesting as well. The one of the promoters is Ponytail Promotions, James Hogan. And making her debut as a promoter is the 9-time world female champion and 2-time Beltway Boxer of the Year, Tori Shonuff Nelson. So she started Shonuff Promotions, and they will be working together for this card at the Masonic Temple on Saturday, March 5th. So March 5th is a busy day. No question about that. That should be very interesting to see what happens in that situation. There's also, we need to know another thing about March. March 26th, which is a Saturday as well, there is a card that'll be held at the UDC Sports Complex in Washington, D.C., the University of the District of Columbia. That's where we had, remember, back in 2013, we had a card there featuring Dusty Hernandez Harrison on that card. And that we did on, I had a chance to do the commentary for Go Fight Live, the color commentary on that particular card. So I don't know much about the card other than Brandon Quarles is scheduled to be the headliner on that show. At least he's scheduled to be on the card. I won't say he's a headliner, but he's scheduled to be on that card on March 26th. That's a Saturday at the UDC Sports Complex in Washington, D.C., University of the District of Columbia. So as soon as we get more information on that one, we'll let you know more about that. Now let's turn to the amateurs. And this past, first of all, congratulations to Gary Antoine Russell, who won his first bout in the World Series of Boxing. Now, World Series of Boxing, for those who don't know, is run by the International Association of Amateur Boxing, AIBA, and it's something they've had for a couple of years, and they have teams from all over the world involved with this. And as I've said before, for some people in boxing, if you participate in the World Series of Boxing, you are technically a pro boxer in their eyes. And I know in Fight Facts, for example, their eyes, you are a pro boxer. So once Gary Antoine Russell does decide to turn pro, the question is whether or not he'll be in there 1-1 at this point. See, if he was decided to do it after the Olympics, for example, would he already have a pro loss on his record, according to Fight Facts? Well, yes, because he did lose his first bout in the World Series of Boxing. However, he bounced back strong and went all the way to Casablanca, Morocco to do this. The USA Knockouts took on the Morocco Atlas Lions in the World Series of Boxing this past week. And Gary Antoine Russell, scored a fourth round TKO in that situation. So congratulations to Antoine Russell with a great performance there. Now he's in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He will be in Colorado Springs, Colorado next month to get ready. Actually, I take it back. He's there now because they're getting ready for the first international qualifier for the Olympics, and that will be in March in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So if nothing else, Antoine's seeing the world before he even gets to the Olympics. He's been in Casablanca, and now he's in Casablanca, Morocco. Now he's headed to Buenos Aires, Argentina, once they leave the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. So he is seeing the world, and hopefully with this particular event in Buenos Aires, he will qualify to participate in the Olympic Games. So we'll see what happens there. Of course, we'll follow that for you. Closer to home. First of all, closer to home, congratulations for a nice article about one of the true great guys in this area. And I don't know if there's any single promoter who is more dedicated to promoting pro and, for the last few years, amateur boxing than Jake the Snake Smith. Jake Smith has been doing this for a long time, a little over 20 years, and he was a former boxer himself. He was a heavyweight at one time. And he is just so enthusiastic about what he's doing. Now, he trains boxers at his gym, Baltimore Boxing and Fitness, which is located in the Fells Point section of Baltimore. And some good boxers have come out of there over the years. He's never had a world champion per se, but he's had some true fan favorites in the area. Mike Pascal, Jesse Niccolo, the late Mike the American Dream Dietrich, Russ Shiflett, Tony Saigon. He's got some guys now. He worked with Sam Crossett in Baltimore when he was an amateur. He worked with Jerome Featherstone for a while, and he has really done so much for amateur boxing in Baltimore and pro as well. But right now he's been concentrating for the last couple of years on the amateurs. And recently the Baltimore Business Journal did a story on Jake and how he's been able to keep that business going for the past 20 years. Now, I tried to get the link for the article. However, you got to be a subscriber to Baltimore Business Journal, and it costs close to $100 really to subscribe to Baltimore Business Journal. And I just didn't think it was fair for one article to unless you're into business. If you're into business, then by all means subscribe. But for those who are not into the business world on that intensive basis, it would end up being probably a waste of money, unfortunately. But to have him in there is really great because it's a non-boxing publication, but it's focusing on the business that Jake has fostered for many years. And he's got another card coming up. It's going to be on Thursday, March the 10th at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland. So make sure you support that. We'll give you more information about that card as it comes in. Now, as far as the Golden Gloves kicked off last week, and it was basically the juniors and the novices that were in action this past Saturday. And the junior division is smoking right now. I mean, these little kids, they are so good. And if there is going to be a delay as far as who our next big stars out of the amateurs are going to be, it may not be that long. But it's going to be fun watching these kids develop. They put on some real competitive bouts. Great action. It was a packed house at Sugar Ray Leonard Boxing Center in Palmer Park, Maryland. And they really enjoyed the little guys. The juniors take care of business. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happened. The novice, they were just that. Many of them were just that, novices. Some of them were in their first bouts as boxers, and it showed. It showed. And the juniors are the guys that have been doing it for a little bit of time. They've gone many places around the country and performed very well. And it's going to be interesting to see how this develops as the juniors go on in this situation. It's going to be great to see. So if you go to Sugar and Leonard, they start again next week. I did post the bout sheet, but I've been told that it's going to be some changes made. And I think just at a brief look, I have not changed it on the blog, but information I received, I think there's some bouts that have been eliminated as opposed to bouts being added. So it'll be about 24 bouts or so. My suggestion to you, if you do plan to go, get there early. Parking's a little bit of a premium over at Sugar Ray Leonard, and they were parking up and down the street near Barlow Road in Palmer Park for the Golden Gloves. So you do get there. It start at 7:30, and they do start pretty much on time. So you need to get there early and get your seat, and it is great. It's a lot of fun, and as soon as we get results, because we won't be there this week, of course, with the show in D.C. So we look forward to some great action from the Golden Gloves. And actually this week, the open division starts, and that's a little earlier than usual. But the open division for the Golden Gloves will begin this Saturday as well. So make sure you're part of that. Now, before we go, for the last few years, off and on, and this is folks. This is for the folks that live here in the Beltway area, primarily in Prince George's County, Maryland. If you live in Prince George's County, Maryland, you really want to listen to this. What I'm going to tell you. There is a group. You go to the grocery store or some stores, and you see people sometimes asking for donations to certain events, usually like the Girl Scouts, or they're selling cookies, or some group is asking for donations to help their charity out. And that's all fine and good. Okay. But there's a group who calls themselves TKO Boxing. Now, they claim to be a boxing club out of Largo, Maryland. And they have a sign out that says they are raising money to send their boxers. And I've seen them say, one week, I think they said the Golden Gloves in Las Vegas. Somebody said the Nationals in Las Vegas last time I saw them, which was earlier this week, as a matter of fact. And folks, this is a scam. And here's why I know it's a scam. Now, I've seen them have the Golden Gloves in Las Vegas. One year they said the Golden Gloves in Las Vegas. That's what they're raising money for. Let me explain how this works. In order to go to the Golden Gloves from this area, number one, your gym has to be sanctioned through the Potomac Valley Association of USA Boxing. Or at the very least, if you are an unattached boxer, you are still registered through Potomac Valley Association of USA Boxing, PVA. Okay? And you do not send your gym en masse to the National Golden Gloves. It doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's like saying all headbangers boxers can go to the Golden Gloves. All no excuse boxers can go to Golden Gloves. No, that's not the way it works. You have to go through the Washington Golden Gloves. And if you're fortunate, you go to the regional Golden Gloves. And then, you get through the regionals, you go to the nationals. Okay. And if you get to the nationals, the Washington Golden Gloves organization pays your way to get there. That's why the prices are where they are for the Golden Glove competitions, because they're raising money and use that money to pay for the DC Maryland region team to get to the Golden Gloves. So earlier this week, I had a confrontation with this group. And I basically called them out and said they are scamming folks. I told the manager of the store that they were selling, that they were trying to get donations from, and told them that they're running a scam. And as I did that, I had my cell phone with me, and I had a representative from Potomac Valley Association on the line, because they've known about this scam for a while too, and just haven't had a chance to confront them. So when I said it was the Golden Gloves, they were saying, no, it was not the Golden Gloves. The ringside in Las Vegas. Well, the ringside championships have never been in Las Vegas. They are usually in Independence, Missouri. That's the headquarters of ringside. The Golden Gloves, when I first said it was Golden Gloves in Las Vegas, I told them the Golden Gloves aren't in Las Vegas this year. The Nationals are in Salt Lake City, Utah. And I told them, again, if you are going to Golden Gloves, why don't we see you at the Washington Golden Gloves? No one in Potomac Valley Association knows them. I have never seen this group at any amateur contest in this area. It's a scam. And I'm making a big deal about it because it ruins, it tarnishes the reputation of the great work that is done in the Washington, D.C. area by Potomac Valley Association. And that goes for the folks in Baltimore, the South Atlantic Association. It goes for the folks that are trying to do something in Virginia. And again, that situation is kind of on the crazy side right now. But by the way, as an aside to that, I talked about that a couple weeks ago on the podcast, and basically what I was saying was right. So if you go back a couple weeks and listen to that, my information was accurate, which is good. I was kind of confused, so I'm glad to know that. But folks like TKO Boxing, whoever the heck they are, tarnish the reputation of Potomac Valley. They threaten to do so anyway. And without hurting my arm too much trying to pat myself on the back, they didn't know who I was. Now, I don't mean that to be self-serving, but if you don't know basically by now who I am and what I do, you are definitely not a legitimate group. And I don't mean, I shouldn't, that came out wrong, but it's true. I know just about at least one person from every legitimate gym in this area. Okay? And they didn't know who I was. They didn't even know who Ricky Womack, who I had on the line, the secretary of the Tony Valley Association, they didn't know who he was. But yet they said they were affiliated with PVA. That's a problem. That's a problem. And they are taking advantage of people who don't know any better. And that's why they need to be stopped. So if you see anybody on the street, any boxing club on the street, trying to raise money to go to a boxing situation, at the very most, they're a scam. At the very least, they're not a sanctioned group, which is dangerous in this day and time. With all the tests they have to do now, that's the situation in Virginia, with all the paperwork that has to be filed. They're doing some underground stuff that is very harmful. And if they're involving little kids in this, it's ridiculous. So folks living in the Prince George's County section, primarily in Maryland, please be on the lookout and, email me at beltwayboxing@hotmail.com if you see them. I'll get you in touch with the folks at the Tony Valley Association, because they want these folks stopped, and they need to be stopped. So again, if you look for someone, if you see somebody named TKO Boxing, it's a scam. I'll stake my reputation on that. It's a scam. Okay, so thank you for listening about that. So that'll do it here for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. Don't forget, we're on the air at some point, probably around, I would guess around 7:30, close to 8 o'clock Eastern Time, PM, for the Saturday, February 27 card at the Washington Convention Center, the King's Promotions card. Should be a good one. Ty Barnett going up against Daniel Atta and many other Beltway boxers on that card. Should be a lot of fun. Hope you can join myself and Ernesto Rodriguez handling the commentary for this particular card. We hope to see you there live at the Convention Center. If not, we will definitely have you online right here on the Box On Beltway Google app for Android. Till then, I'm Gary Digital Williams. Thanks for joining me, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams, as I said, and always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.